All right.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of research has shown that 60% to 80% of the students in higher, in institutions of higher learning, that's universities and tertiary institutions, actually students who have had a good education, they've gone to good primary school, good secondary school, and therefore can afford to pay for their secondary school. How do we make sure that these are not the people that we are going to be funding?
Now the loan scheme is aimed at increasing access to higher education.
Yes.
And basically, it's going to look at those who cannot afford higher education. You get it? So the element of neediness comes in. So basically, what we are looking at are those people who cannot afford to finance their own higher education costs.
How do you find those?
No, what we are doing, we have come up with a scientific way of determining those ones. Which I'm going to explain.
Okay,
we are looking at a number of parameters. We are looking at a number of parameters. And these parameters are going to be weighed. Each of them has a weight. We are looking at the schools that you have gone to, like you have mentioned. We are looking at the household burden. We are looking at the educational background of the parents. We are looking at issues to do with orphans, issues to do with children who come from families managed by single parents, largely women. So all those are factored into in order to arrive. Because what we're doing, in Uganda, it's very difficult to know people's income.
Exactly.
And me. Yeah,
yes,
you get it? That's why we are looking.
We don't even have a way of identifying people.
That's why I'm explaining.
Yes.
That's why
if you say we are beginning in June,
we have done that.
If you say we are beginning in June, right now, this is May. June is in a few days.
Exactly. And that's why I'm saying we have already come up with a scientific way of doing it. And this is weighted. All those factors I've talked about, we are giving it, each of it, we are giving it a point, an average. And at the end of the day, those ones, we call them proxy indicators. You get it?
Okay, yes.
We look at other variables that can give us an indication to your ability or inability to finance our education. You get it? Okay. Because as I said, in Uganda, people's income streams are not well documented. People's income does not go through the banking system. People don't pay taxes. So we can only look at other proxy indicators to give us an indication of his income. And thus, using that scientific approach, we are able to determine who is more needed than the other.
Okay, Honorable, haven't you put in place a law that's going to be really abused? Because, for example, yes, how do you expect the board here to identify needy people? I know he's labored to explain it, but...
we know the fact that in Uganda we have not yet categorized our population into wealth quantiles. That posed a problem, and really these are some of the issues. If you read our report to Parliament, those are some of the issues we pointed out. There have been other issues like identifying who is a Ugandan, and we really did push
because only Ugandans qualify for these loans, isn't
for having a national identification card to determine who is a Ugandan. And without a national identification document, we know many people can come and claim to be Ugandans. So those are some of the challenges that face the loans scheme from the onset. But the law clearly provides for national identification cards. The law clearly provides for identifying, looking at variables which show, which indicate that really this person is poor or not. For example, you cannot have studied from King's College Budo, or Gayaza High School, or St. Mary's Kisubi, and then you come to apply for, unless other variables can be looked at. Maybe when you were at Kisubi, you were on a sponsorship. But if your parents were paying for the money, then definitely you are someone who is able to pay for
if my parent
education.
is able to pay for me when I'm beginning, and then along the way my parent is no longer able, do I qualify?
Well, maybe when I'm looking at the law, we didn't look at that scenario, but the board has a lot of powers which we put in place. The board has a lot of powers to determine who should get a loan and who should not get a loan. So as long as someone can prove that the circumstances have changed, and because we've seen so many students dropping out of university after paying maybe for one semester, or paying for 1 year, and then they can't go on after the first year. So I think under such circumstances, when there's evidence, the board can determine and say that this person qualifies.
Okay. You've heard about the student loan scheme. We're going for a break right now, but when we come back from the break, we continue this discussion. So continue watching Our Parliament.